That's what I'm trying to figure out. How did you become?
So I think that there's a level of anti-intellectualism that we have adopted for black men that we don't recognize isn't true. Like all of us were nerds at one point. All of us were into Dragon Ball Z. All of us were into cars. All of us wanted to be into things that were in like video games, like, but we were discouraged from those things from two different perspectives. Even if it's in the sneakers, like somebody will call the dude that created StockX a genius, but call you an idiot for standing in line trying to buy sneakers. But you know more about sneakers than the white boy who then started StockX. But he has his parents look at him and say, your interest in your interests are valid. The things that you want to develop in life, they're important, and they get support in a different way. I don't think that my intellect was at its peak when I was in my first year of college. Why? Because I was more worried about making money. Education is an exercise. It's just like working out. So it's just like, it's repetition. It's all the things that happen. My aunt, my grandmother, my aunt, she lived in California, but they made sure that education was very important. All my family thought education was really important, but just as quickly as I was smart, I was dumb the moment I stopped flexing that muscle, stopped practicing writing. It takes practice. Like they say, writing, math, all those things take practice. So I wouldn't say that where did I got smart? I got smart because that's what I did. I did that every day. But if you're somebody who's getting discouraged from doing those things, or if you're someone who is more worried about whether or not you're going to eat every day, or if you're someone who's worried about whether or not you gotta, like, my pop was a mechanic growing up, and we found a love for working on cars together. But it was just like, there are certain things that happen in the black community where our intellect is discouraged. You know what I mean? Like being in that, like the things that typical black boys are into in, say, 6th grade, those are all nerdy things. I mean, when I was in 6th grade, we was in the Dragon Ball Z, video games, playing games like Metal Gear Solid, like real Final Fantasy VII. Right. These things are hard. These are the things that Elon Musk was playing when he was in college. You get what I'm saying? But then we all of a sudden had this shift where we were told that those things were childish and we had to put them away. And then instead we had to start using other instincts. Who's the best at spotting one time from 4 blocks away? That's who. And if you're flexing that muscle, figuring out who the Jammy Boys is, what's that car? Is that a cop? If that's the muscle you flexing all day, your muscles for design, creativity, all those things start to wither away.
You think that was?
I love that.
You think that was intentional? Not by way of you, but by way of what's put into our neighborhoods. Like, why do you think that happened? When we make those shifts from the nerdy, from the Dragon Ball Z to now who can spot the cops, who can do X, Y, and who getting the most pussy? Like, you think that's intentional?
Do I think it's intentional? No, but do I think it's a product of that lack of, so, we went through this during the gun violence epidemic during COVID, where I had to explain to people that, like, what people value changed dramatically, and people couldn't understand, like, why these young boys shooting each other? We locking up all the drug dealers. Ain't nobody standing on corners selling drugs, but these young boys still shooting each other. What in the world? And I'm like, yo, the entire industry has changed. The entire dichotomy of what it means to be an ambitious, successful young boy has changed. It used to be who freshest, who got the nicest wheel. Now they driving around in Johnnies. It used to be, and the dude who is important is the dude riding around and who get the most Johnnies, who got the most bodies. And what I explained to people, I said, like, listen, clout changed. It used to be that, who was the first I remember who the first boy in my hood was that had a rollie. I remember who the first boy in my neighborhood who had the first Bonneville. The first boy that came through in a Caprice on 20s. You're like, oh my God. And every girl in the neighborhood remembered too. Now, every girl remember what boy had the most bodies. And it's a different level it's a different economy. And all I'm saying is that it's not about why those things happen, because it's an economy, man. Like everyone is going to sit around and let me say it this way. It's human nature to be competitive. It's human nature to want to achieve. It's human nature to want to show off and be proud of yourself, to provide for your family. It's human nature for some people to peacock and show everybody how you know, and what I think happened is that when you take away the legitimate means of developing those things, people aren't going to now all of a sudden just decide that, yo, I'm not going to be competitive. I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to achieve. I'm not going to do good. Instead, they're going to make a way.
Right.
They're going to make a way.
So is gun violence awareness, is that important to you because of the environment you grew up in, or because you were a product of it, or both?
Both. I mean, listen, when I say I didn't get a test, anything wrong on a test until I was like in 8th grade, it's when I was in 8th grade, 2 of my homies got killed, execution style down the bottom, David and Kian. David Richardson, and I can never remember Kian's last name. I don't know why I can't remember his last name nowadays. But David Richardson got shot 21 times, Kian got shot 23 times.
On that block where they, damn.
It's not Lex Street.
Oh, all right.
It's not Lex Street,
yeah.
but it was like right before Lex Street. And to this day, like I'm now that I'm older, I probably could get the mathematics on it, like who had what that was about, because we was clueless. I mean, I had never smoked weed before that. I had never drank a 40 before that.
Right.
But all of a sudden, you're forcing me. They were 16. I was in 7th or 8th grade, so I was like 12, 13, and now I'm forced up. Like I'm mourning my friends, because David had a little brother named Tyrell. And Tyrell was the same age as me. I used to go over his crib, play video games. You know, he had all the games. His mom, single mom, taking care of 2 boys. David was thorough, and it's kind of funny how things come full circle. David went to Glen Mills real young. And when he goes up Glen Mills, I'm guessing, I don't know, because I was young, so I didn't understand what it was. David came home and taught us all how to do steps. Damn. Because when he was up Glen Mills, whoever it was that was working as like like the social workers, they was alphas.
Yeah.
So David used to be doing all this, like and we used to be playing around in the crib with him. He taught us all how to step, and we'd be doing the steps with him. We used to do them at the block parties and stuff like that. Yeah. But David started hustling, and we had like a block in our neighborhood where our old heads on that block was some of the top hustlers in the city to this day. I mean, they got drama that got them taken off the streets, but nevertheless, at the time, they was smoking it. And next thing you know, we get a call. Dave and them was at a house down the bottom, and they got killed, execution style, bound up, tied up. I was too young to really get the inside scoop. But the reality is that it forced me to mourn with a group of people that I never knew what mourning meant in the hood, but I knew I was messed up, and I'm going outside at 5 p.m. and my homies that's 21 to my homies that's 12 is all sitting on a corner mourning together, and we smoking and we drinking, and I had never done any of that stuff before. And next thing you know, I'm off the porch, just like that. Off the porch, just like that.
So where'd that take you?
I mean, for the most part, my family did like a really crazy intervention. Like my aunt flew in from California. They wanted to make sure I graduated from high school. Where it landed me at Central.
Right.
So, yeah, because what happened is my family recognized that I was going through something. They recognized that I had 2 friends die. I had a teacher who, to this day, she claimed that she saved my life. And in reality, I honestly think that like she was just a dickhead. Like, I mean, and maybe that was warranted. But the reality is like I still don't like her to this day. She was just unpleasant. She had no compassion. She was dismissive. She was one of those women who, in my opinion, she was bougie, and she thought that certain type of kids deserved one type of education and certain types of kids deserved a different type of education. And I say that because one of these girls had gotten like her parents had pulled her out of Catholic school and sent her to school with us. And she came in and she didn't test into any of the classes that we tested into. Because I would test into like the high ranking classes, and I would do it. I'll come in now, you said, where did it land me? I was smoking weed now. So now I'm smoking weed before school. I'm smoking weed after school. I'm coming to school high. And I'm in 8th grade. I'm not turning in papers. My grandma passed away my 7th grade year, so my dad not really pressing me. He not on top of me, making sure that I'm good, because now I'm a co-parent with him. My mom, she had a real bad, my dad got himself together. My mom had a real bad issue. She was always...
You had 2 losses then.
What you mean?
Your grandma?
Yeah.
And then your homie?
Yep. My grandma died from throat cancer. It was crazy. Esophageal cancer is crazy. But long story short, that year I wasn't wilding out. I was just being 13. I mean, what 13-year-old boy, don't exhibit a lack of inertia as they start realizing that the girls got breasts.
Right.
Like, wait a minute. One of the girls in my high school class, my friend to this day, she was pregnant in 8th grade. Yeah. I'm like,
we could do that?
Oh, we doing that?
You going from Southwest to North Philly on that train.
We're not in North yet, though. I'm still in West. This is. But the thing is that Bieber is in the bougie part of West Philly, Overbrook Farms, Hilltop. I'm getting introduced to all the Hilltop players, all the Lansdowne Avenue players. It was a completely different environment, man. The girls was dressed to the nines. I was dressed to the nines. I mean, that European streetwear was just coming out. Like, y'all was geeking off my clothes. I still dress the same way I dressed when I was in 7th grade. But by then, I'm selling weed to fix my weed habit. You know what I mean? I was selling weed to smoke weed.
Right.
So, I mean, what ends up happening is it pushes me to Central because my family comes in and they're like, yo, you're too smart for this. Like, and people recognize what was going on. Yeah. And it was a impetus that made everybody say, like, something's wrong with Kevin. And they all came in. I got admitted to Central, but going back to that teacher, that was the point I was making. She would try to get that girl into all the classes that she didn't test into, but try to get me kicked out of all the classes that I tested into because of behavior. And it was like, I was telling my daughter's teacher, I was a desk outside the class nigga. He can't sit in here. And that's because I finished my test 15 minutes high.
Right, and then you be...
And it's active.
So you went Central 9th to 12th?
No, 9th to 12th. They kicked me out the week before the first week of 12th grade.
You lying.
They sent me a letter saying I didn't have academics, and I'm like, I appealed it because technically you can't fail 3 classes at Central. I didn't fail 3, I failed 2. But I had all this academic stuff, man.
Did you graduate from Central though?
No, I graduated from Bartram.
So your family structure was super instrumental in a lot of the things that you did in your lifestyle.
I mean,
in the beginning, at least.
I would say instrumental. I would more say impactful. Impactful, because I mean, some of it was an impediment, but some of it was motivation. Like, I mean, I think I am where I am today because I'm the oldest of 5 kids. When my parents got sick, the first thing I said was, damn, it ain't nobody else but me. I gotta, either we gonna go this route or we gonna go that route. So it was very much me saying, like, I gotta smoke this or finish this or complete this or accomplish this, because if I don't do it, then it ain't gonna get done.
So at Central or Bartram, I'm gonna say, did you already know in your head at Bartram what you wanted to go to college for?
I didn't think I was going to college.
So talk to me about that part.
Yeah, so I thought I was defeated. So I was off the porch in 7th, 8th grade, went to Central, and when I went to Central, got a job at McDonald's, became a manager, real square lifestyle. I'm talking about, like, went from being like 7th, 8th grade, went from being somebody that, like, between my older brothers, I have a stepbrother. So my older stepbrother, but I call my older brothers. My dad had not a wife, but you know how it is in the hood. Like, he lived with his girl. We all live in the same house. That's my stepbrother. Like, we like that to this day.
Yeah.
They would give me hand-me-downs, but they in the streets heavy. So I'm coming to school looking like Pac when he was at the movie premiere. I'm Versace'd out every other day. I'm, like, fresh Nikes. We all wear the same size. Fresh, like, they get a scuff on their Tim. I don't want them Tims no more.
To you, they brand new.
Yeah, I'm brand new. I'm in all, that's 7th, 8th grade. I get to 9th grade, and now my family then kind of like said, yo, you got this opportunity. You going to Central. I go stone cold weirdo for 3 years. But of course, I already been off the porch, so I'm still smoking weed, still playing around with weed a little bit, but not really in it as much. Started doing karate, which was something that was really, really important to me, traveling all over the country, because I literally fought so well that they put me on the Philadelphia national karate team. First kid to ever be on the Philadelphia national karate team. And
So you got a black belt?
Oh yeah, I'm a 4th degree black belt.
Solid.
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't want no smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, I never.
And 4th degree. And essentially what happens, like, listen, look me up on YouTube, like legit, like YouTube, Kevin Harden Jr. karate, and all these videos gonna show up.
Me punch at you doing some shit.
No, I'm gonna shoot you. So you
out of pocket. Put your hands in your pocket, yo. Put your hands inside your hoodie pocket, bro. I don't want to. Yeah.
I ain't fighting. I'm 39 years old.
He said I'm still.
I go to work, I got a black eye. They're like, what happened to you? I gotta come up with some type of excuse as to why I was fighting in the streets. No, I'll still knock you cold stone out.
Damn.
No, I'm not gonna shoot nobody.
That's
But no, what happened is like, I was just in between two worlds, and then but the thing that happened is once I got kicked out of Central, you'd have thought that I got like a felony conviction. I thought my life was over. I'm going to Bartram now. And it was the summer before I started at Bartram. I don't know where my head was at. I was just being dramatic, drastic, devastated. I started hustling again. I was selling weed for like that whole summer, you know, hanging with the bulls that like, like my dad always had this rule that I couldn't go to school with my friends. And it wasn't until my 12th grade year that I was going to school with my friends from the neighborhood. And what it was is when you go to Central, you getting on. And I didn't realize this was different until I was a lawyer. When I was a lawyer, one of the other lawyers I was working with was just like, damn, you must have had it really rough growing up. And I'm like, what you mean? He said, going from 58th in Baltimore to Broad and Allen, that's crazy. And I'm like, that's normal. And he was like, no, it's not. And then I started recognizing that like the kids that I compete with, these grown up lawyers that I compete with, they never been to a school that took them more than 15 minutes to get to.
Right.
They grew up in a suburb where literally their effort to go to school was wake up, walk to the end of the driveway, and a bus would pull up, and they get in the bus, or walk to the driveway, and their mom would put them in the car and drive them the car line. Versus me getting up at the crack of dawn.
Trolley L in the sub.
Trolley L in the sub, or 46 L in the sub. Because like at 58th in Baltimore, you got something going every which direction. So you literally standing out there. You get out there like what? We would get this because Central nerds. We get to school super early, so that we could play games, play spades, play dominoes before school. That started at 7. I mean, people get into school at 7 to do that. Plus, people got workouts before school. So football got workouts before school, wrestling got workouts before school, track got workouts before school. So people is leaving their cribs at 6 in the morning to get to school at 7 a.m. And it's like, and literally at 6 in the morning, you go in the donut shop. Hey, what's going on? You seeing everybody in the donut shop? You cop your hot sausage. You cop your tea, your coffee, and you come out on the corner of 58th in Baltimore, and you look at each bus stop and see which one got girls on it. You go G, 46, 34. You go look and you say, oh, I see little buddy over there, and you go over there. And you're like, oh, we going to school this way today. Okay. And that's how it went. And then you catch the trolley to 15th Street, or you catch because you got a school token, they give you a pass. You catch the trolley to 15th Street, or you catch the G or the 34, the G or the 46 up to 60th, up to Market Street to Broad to school, and then the same thing after school. After school, you got after school activities.
That's fresh.
I wasn't getting home every day till 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a hike.
Every day you get home, so you ain't had no time to do nothing. You ain't had no time to get in trouble, to grind, to get in the neighborhood. I would get home at 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night, and I get on the phone with my friends. They'd be like, my friends from the neighborhood, they'd be like, yo, such and such got shot after school. And I'm like, I got off the bus at that bus stop, and there wasn't no signs that there was a shooting. Right. But that's how locked in you was going to school at Broad and Allen.
The blessing of that is like all the move around you did. That's why you're so popular. You're a very popular person. Like a lot of people know you. You know a lot of people, but it's all the move around you did.
I've been here. I tell people everything. I got from kindergarten through my kindergarten to doctorate. I went to public school in Pennsylvania.
You heard that? That man said kindergarten to doctorate.
I went to public school in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's dead. Yeah.
Head Start, Bryant, Bieber, Central, Bartram, Kutztown, Temple, all public school.
Damn. So Cookstown. All right. So now we go from Central to Cookstown. Did you like going to Cookstown?
It was an adjustment. So
white school.
Yeah, I mean, but more diverse than most of the other state schools. Yeah, I mean, Millersville was diverse. I mean, I went to school at a unique time. So 03 to 07, it was a lot of people from the city in college. Yep. And Temple, Drexel, LaSalle, all of them, they're dealing with the fact that they're dealing with it now. That they went with this strategy of attracting out-of-state students and suburban kids. Because if you look around, it's more inner city educated, like Philadelphia School District kids who have degrees from Millersville, IUP, Kutztown, Westchester than it is. Like, I'm sure Temple's a huge school, but like none of us got into Temple. Like my man's Jordan Harris, State Representative Jordan Harris. He's the a chair of the appropriations committee for the Pennsylvania state legislature, the dude that's responsible for giving out the money to everybody. And he went to Millersville. As talented as he was, Millersville is a college access institution, which means that it's a school for children, for students who first generation, maybe not really ready for college. What? I was at Kutztown with like 8 Central kids. We are the kids that are definitely going to college. But for some reason, somehow, we weren't groomed to go to Penn State, to go to, Harvard, Spelman. And there are people that went to those schools, but their parents probably had a little bit more knowledge. And I just felt like, I went to Kutztown because it's the only school I really applied to. It's the only school I had a completed application at. I met this guy named Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones, literally, Bartram, it wasn't, those kids, including myself, those kids, we didn't think we was going to college. We thought getting into college was like hitting the lottery. It's like, I ended up getting to college with a full scholarship. I really hit the lottery. I'm doing cartwheels through the fucking hallway.
Full scholarship or karate?
No, full scholarship on academics. But what ends up happening is, Jeff Jones said, what's your SAT score? I told him my SAT score. He said,
What was it?
It was a 1330. He said, what's your SAT score? I said 1330. He said, congratulations, son. If you're telling me the truth, you got a full scholarship. That was it. Just like that.
I want to pause him. I want to just shout him out for having a full scholarship for academics, not for karate, football, basketball, for being intelligent, come from where you come from. I just want to say, respect you for that, brother.
No, I appreciate that. Man. But at the end of the day, I've always been a good test taker. There's plenty of people that could have did exactly that. It's just that they didn't know. Or they didn't get the prep courses. I went to Central, so Central gave us specific SAT prep. So I took the SATs when I went to Central.
What made you a good test taker? Like what tactics did you have? Or you just...
Yeah, that's a whole strategy in itself. I
don't know if it's a strategy. I look at academics the way most people look at sports. So I think the best way to describe it is like every time I've taken a test, except for the SAT, I think I took it high. I was in that space in my life where I smoked weed before I'm on the way to the SAT.
Study high, take tests, but get high scores.
But as an adult, now that I'm recognizing I'm a good test taker, one of the reasons that I recognize I'm a good test taker is that I'm real big with repetition. I pick up on things really quickly. And I'll never forget when I took the bar exam, one of my mentors was just like, why'd you finish the test so quickly? And it's just like, I'm really good at logical reasoning. And that's, I'm easily trained.
It's a gift.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a gift. I think anybody can do it. I just think that, you need the timing and, you need the time and the resources. I'm one of those people that if you put a test in front of me, and don't tell me how to take it, I'm not going to do well at it. But if you give me 4 practice exams beforehand, then I'm gonna take the practice exams. I'm like, oh, this is how you do it? Oh, all right, you show me how to do it? I'm like, all right, yeah, I got this. That's
all the things you said just from here sounds like that's what you've been preparing for.
Yeah.
From what your grandma at the table.
Yeah.
From karate and all those things are things you have to prep, study for, prepare for. Karate. You don't become a 4th degree black belt by just doing this shit. That's repetition. So it seems like you've been groomed your entire life to be doing these type of things.
Yeah, and I was just teaching my daughter I was helping her with some homework the other day, and my daughter's very like me. And it's like, me and her have the same personality, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure she has a share of me and her mother, but we both have the same learning style. So when I see her encounter things that are difficult, it's not that she doesn't have the intellect to complete them. It's that she doesn't have not a rubric, but a method. Like everybody has this is how you should approach this problem. You know what I mean? This is completely off the cuff, but recently I started taking piano lessons, inspired by my daughter. My daughter, she had a really good piano, dance, and drum recital all in one weekend. And I just loved her energy. It was inspiring. So I started taking piano lessons in January. And since I'm so high level now, I've been practicing law for 15 years. I got a doctorate. I'm so important, I guess. I forgot how to learn. And so I'm sitting there practicing this piano and I'm smoking it. I'm killing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm with my hand. Like, can't tell me I ain't Beethoven.
Right.
And I'm having trouble. We moved to something good King Wenceslas. Like, we go to another song, and now I got to play a different note with my right hand and my left hand. And my instructor said, look, I want you to practice this bar with your left hand over and over again until you perfect it. So break it down. Just this bar, just your left hand, over and over again. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did that for 30 minutes. And she's like, all right, now the thing that you're gonna play with your right hand at the same time, practice that for 30 minutes. Just your right hand. Don't try to master it all at one time. So now I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's like, all right, you doing both of those without even looking now, right? Play them together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I know it. And it's like, that's the level, like, when you get to being an adult at 40, if something don't come to you immediately, you be like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. This ain't for me. I ain't, no. What? You want me to drive a stick? No. You want me to drive a hell? But then her forcing me to learn it at a kindergarten level reminded me of what learning looks like. So what I end up doing is I'm sitting with my daughter, and it was really good for me to be like, all right, we're gonna break this down. Let's do this half first, and we're gonna practice it, and we're gonna take 30 minutes. And kids focus is different nowadays because they sit on TikTok or they sit on YouTube, and them videos turn every 30 minutes. And it's like having to help my daughter the same way I have to help myself, because I recognize it. We live in this distraction economy where you checking your phone every 15 minutes. Somebody reply, somebody text me, somebody call, somebody post, somebody comment, somebody update. And it's like teaching people how to think in 30-minute, without checking your phone for 30 minutes, without an hour. So that's what I would say is good for me with test taking, is that, back then somebody taught me the same thing that my instructor just reminded me of again, which is sometimes you gotta take your left hand and just isolate that and practice that alone for, everybody wanna run out, and I use sports all the time. Everybody wanna run out and be like, filet. But you gotta dribble with your right hand for 2 days, and then dribble with your right hand for your left hand for 2 days, and then you gotta do it behind your back for 4 days, and maybe for years, maybe for months before you can get to put before it starts looking the way it's supposed to look. And I'm like, with karate, I'm blessed. I've been doing it for 30 years.